All right, I just want to spend the next 5 to 10 minutes give you a wrap up regarding the first case, okay? And given this is our first case, this feedback will be a little bit longer because I not only want to cover a few major directions to go about this, analyzing this case, but also some comments in general about the future upcoming case report, okay? So here is the product we are talking about. Okay, so but we all know roughly what is it. It's a very useful and interesting engineering equipment. Okay, so now regarding the key points I want to comment on, I roughly follow the sequence of the four major evaluation facets, right? So number one, my point is for your future report, you should focus on major managerial questions or decisions and directly hit it. Okay, what do I mean by that? First of all, we have mini report, therefore it's only 2 pages. Okay, and it's not easy because write good report with a lot of coverage considerations in 2 pages. That's not easy. Okay, therefore you should really, use the space, wisely. All right. Therefore, focus on the major managerial questions and directly hit it instead of I try to write 2 paragraphs, maybe you know remotely related, or it's more like a background. You don't have that kind of space and luxury. For this case, what are the major managerial questions? Okay, first of all, frankly speaking, using earlier supplier involvement for new product development is already decided, it's done, it's given. Okay, you do not need to discuss why they want to develop product by themselves, why they want to take it back. That's a corporate level decision. It's already decided. Furthermore, you don't need to spend that much time discussing why we want to do earlier supplier involvement in product development stage. That's already given. That's ask. What's the real core questions? Two of them. Number one, what kind of suppliers should be involved in earlier supplier involvement? Okay, so who, what kind of, product components, what kind of supplier shall we target for that? Obviously, we cannot do it for every one of the thousands of the supplier for this kind of product. Okay, so that's number one question. Number two is what kind of interaction, interface, or relationship shall we establish in practice with this, proposed, uh, supplier who will be involved in the product development. Those are the two core questions. Okay, so really, it's all right to introduce a little bit of background information in 2, 3 sentences. Okay, it's totally all right and good to discuss. I mean, what's the stretching goal, right? I mean, instead of talking about goals like, we want to take back the control, we want to really get into this growing market, etc. The goal is really you need to achieve a few really difficult things, right? You need to develop a killer product with some kind of standing out features. You want it to be 20% cheaper and you want it to be done within 24 months. Okay. And it's a new factory. Okay. It's a new factory. So all these are the reality, but you want to do it, therefore early supplier development is a must. And the real focus of the question is how, with whom. Okay, so that's the first part. Second part regarding the analysis. Okay, you don't need to force yourself to use, I need to use this framework in chapter one, this framework in chapter two, if it applies. Yeah, naturally, then do it. Okay, but you are not forced to quote any framework or concepts. We are just talking about, oh, this case is suitable for this module in general. Okay, therefore freely use any reasonable structure or reasonable analysis, reasonable considerations. Okay, that's all good. None of this is that difficult, or it's just use your intuition, business sense. Okay, so for example, talking about we really need to directly hit the questions. What kind of parts they worth to do early supplier development? That's from the demand side. Okay, so what kind of things? Number one, obviously you want to target something, parts or components that has major dollar value impact, right? That's one situation. Number two, maybe you want to talk something about whatever that can really make your product standing out. Okay, for example, I'm not sure for this product. Maybe engine is a one. Maybe the hydraulic component is one. Maybe this front, this loader, whatever that tool, this exchangeable head, that's the one. Whatever those kind of features that's super important that make your product standing out or affect the customer's experience a lot. Number three, I'm not sure. I mean, you can just imagine the situation. Some of the parts and components or new stuff may have IP, intellectual property. Okay, so whoever that kind of suppliers is worth to consider for earlier supplier involvement. Okay, uh, you know, those kind of things. I mean, there are other potential things you can develop. Okay, it's open end, right? It's a case discussion. There is no standard answer, so it's open end. For example, maybe a certain supplier they are really tight on this 24 months, this time plan, this scheduling issue. Okay, if it's bottleneck on the timing, yeah, maybe that's also the one. Okay, who knows? Okay. So all these are reasonable and quite intuitive directions to go. You can pick one, you can pick a few of them, etc., etc. Okay, and here it's also beneficial to discuss, the importance of early supplier involvement, or vice versa. If you don't have it, what kind of trouble it may have, right? You may have delayed launch. You may have to rework a lot of products. You may have, difficult to achieve real cost saving, etc., etc. Those are all good points. However, they worth mentioning, but do not put too much weight on them because, I mean, again, directly hit our major managerial questions is what kind of parts, components, or what kind of suppliers you should consider. I mean, we all know that for earlier supplier involvement in this process, it's not easy. You cannot afford to coordinate and collaborate with too many of them. You can only pick a few at most, maybe 10 something, 10 or 12. That's about it. Not more than that. Okay, so it's a very selective process. Okay, so that's our key question. Okay, now, talking about recommendations, recommendations aligned with this analysis, right? You can say, oh, based on your analysis, you want to recommend considering the following guys. I mean, whatever who components with high dollar value, more complex engineering wise, or with a tight schedule, or with intellectual property, or with whatever. Okay. And talking about practical part, now you need to think about how to interact with these potential guys, right? You need to have them a contract, right? For the contract, you need to define the roles and responsibilities clearly. You may need to establish a few major milestones. Uh, for this kind of cooperation, you need to, for example, obviously, it should be a cross-functional team, including your own finance team, engineering team, marketing team, etc., etc. So maybe there is some kind of group approval process or group review process. Okay. And furthermore, once the project is on, this 24 months project is on, the you cannot just let it go and wait until the last moment, right? You need to talk about, oh, how often shall we communicate? We meet together. What are some of the suggested major milestones we want to check the progress? The project control points. Okay, so all those are the practical considerations or recommendations, and also the things like uh, the do you want to provide any incentives if they meet the cost saving target, reward something or benefit sharing, revenue sharing above the target performance level, or things like, if you get delayed, penalized if you get finish a certain step earlier, some kind of reward. All those are related. Again, as long as it's right direction, it's open-ended. Writing, most of you, I'm pretty sure you use AI to screen your writing. So all the writing are easy to understand. However, for several of you, the structure can be more structured. Okay, remember the space is very precious. So you do not have to use long narrative of paragraph or something. So use strong bullet points, numbering, sections. Those are very good strategy to make your draft more structured. Frankly speaking, I post a very detailed example regarding what is considered good, what is considered excellent. I guess some of you do not really read or even just browse that document. There is a very good sample at the end. And some of you really follow that sample really, really well. And it's so beautifully written manuscript. Okay. But others, I mean, yeah, you just write in a very free way. Okay. So you can improve. With the help of AI, it's not that difficult. Okay. So just if you haven't done so, read my How to Write a Good Case Report, that reference. Okay. Talking about using AI, obviously everyone uses AI. Okay, you may notice the feedback I provide to each of you is kind of long. Yeah, I write it with AI, but not in one rounds. Okay, not only I manually read all your report carefully, I let it write, and I for each of the feedback I modify at least 3 rounds. Okay, and change the grades, adjust the comments, etc., etc., until I'm totally happy with that. That's a good use of AI. All right. And I noticed some of you, I mean, most of you must use AI for grammarly check and everything. That's natural, no problem. And because, frankly speaking, I'm not sure how familiar you are with engineering equipment, but several of you correctly point out the key components are electronics control, the major mechanical structure, because this is engineering equipment, the strength is very important, and also hydraulic things. Okay, I think that's a result of checking AI. That's good usage of AI. Okay, but on the other hand, the don't just use it in a shallow way. Just you know, post the question, I mean, the case on it and say, I'll write it for me. Because, I mean, if you just do not do a lot of prompting or iterative improving, the result of the report will be like pretty general, not really hit the point without too much focus, not in good detail, and include some irrelevant hallucinations, right? For example, for this thing, I mean, throughout the case and in reality, this kind of $100,000, at least $100,000 engineering equipment for business. I mean, there is not much of online, sales. I mean, it's not relevant. Okay, it's not something like e-commerce. I click a button, they deliver this thing to me. Okay, there are a lot of customization, a lot of demonstration. It's a B2B kind of business. Okay, so if in your draft suddenly there are some kind of online discount coupon, that does not make any sense. But that's the way of using AI in a not so in-depth manner. That's not good. Okay. So try to avoid that. Use AI really smartly. Okay, back and forth through this discussion, make it a much stronger solution. And lastly, in the future, you don't need to provide any reference. I mean, here is the thing, as I mentioned in the how to write a good case report and everything, you should restrict your information and analysis to the given material. So the only thing you need, and you should only use this one, is the case itself. Okay? So, and also if you want to reference it, there is only one thing, is this textbook and this case itself, which is not very meaningful. So you don't need to, provide any reference in the future. Okay? Just do your analysis and writing and recommendation based on the information in this case. Okay? So that's something for the, future preparation for any case. We have 6 of them. All right. But overall, we are in good shape as a start point, and I have read a very, very good report. One of your reports is not only excellent, it's exceptional. Okay. So, so that's about my comment. Any question, of course, please do not hesitate to contact.